Hey everybody, it's Wednesday. This is Mrs. Walter, as I'm sure you know. I'm wondering if you're sick of my voice, because every time I play these YouTube videos, I hear my own voice and I think, oh my gosh, who wants to listen to her? Anyway, I would like to show you how we are going to start to think about what to write about when it comes to Of Mice and Men. I've been showing you how I read, how I think about text that I read. You wrote your own annotations for chapters 1 through 5. I've read all of those and returned them, so you should have those back. And I give you some feedback. Sometimes you wrote something that I had an idea about, so I commented on that. Or your thought gave me a new thought, and I asked a question. So hopefully you got a sense of what your thought made me think by the response I left. So now I also had you create a page of chapter notes. And I asked you to collaborate or everyone together put your notes into our class set. And what I did is I uploaded our notes into Notability. And I'm just going to scroll through. And Nina, I have to apologize. Yours came up at the top, and I didn't know which chapter you read, so I just gave you a blank slide at the beginning, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I showed you my example with my title up here. I have my bigger ideas over here. This is more of plot, things that happened. I drew a couple little pictures over here, and then down here I did my quotes. So most of you did this correctly. Some of you didn't quite get it, and a few of you haven't handed this in yet. So it's very important that you do this because, and I just want JD to know, it took him an hour, which means that he was working and he was thinking, which is all good stuff. So anyway, what we have here today is we have all of you, and if you haven't done this, make sure that you get yours uploaded so we all have an opportunity to do some thinking about what we wrote and what we were all thinking. I'm going to ask you to read through each other's notes. Read through my chapter 1 notes. Go on to Allison's notes. You can, with Notability, you can really zoom in if you couldn't see something. Let's see, Jaden typed his, it's pretty easy to see. So take a look at what your classmates have read. That's the first step to do, read through all of them. Then what you're going to do is you're going to start to notice any ideas that repeat. Notice these repeating ideas, okay? And jot them down on a Post-it. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but don't go more than 2, okay? And I'm going to demonstrate this for you now so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, I tried to pick something that was a little bit more obscure, so I would be sure to leave you with something to take and to find, and I think you're going to see that, okay? So again, I'm going to go back right now, and I'm going to read through all of your work. And I'm going to notice repeating ideas. And once I find an idea that repeats, I'm going to ask myself, could I write about this? Is this an idea that was present enough, that was big enough in this novel, that gives me something to say about it, and also maybe even would let me think about what the author had to say about it? Okay, so watch me as I do this. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm really not going to go too far. But I was reading Allison's, and I saw that in chapter 2 she wrote this: George always wants to protect Lenny. He has a very caring personality, and he's very protective towards his loved ones. And that was she had the idea that was characterization work. She wrote a little bit about perspective and about figurative language and setting. And she has some pretty good quotes. About 9 o'clock in the morning, the sun threw a bright dust-laden bar. No, he ain't, but he's sure a hell good worker, strong as a bull. And that reminded me of, obviously, talking about Lenny. Okay? I took a look at the next one, and while this wasn't quite in the format. I still got some good stuff from it, from Emily's work. She was writing about in chapter 22, where characterization was apparent. George says when they're examining their bunk, then how come he got graybacks? George was working up a slow anger. Lenny watched George with his open mouth. And then this is her annotation, but it still is going to serve a pretty good purpose. George seems very caring and protective. He wants the best with both Lenny and him. He seems like a tough sweetheart, okay? And I'm going to stop right there because I see something repeated. I see the word protective there. And I saw in Allison's work the word protect up here and the word protective right here. So what I just did is I'm only showing you two because I don't want to go through all of them and pull out all of these big ideas. I want you guys to have a chance to do that. So I just read two of them, and already in the two I've seen, protect and protective has come up. Now, if I ask myself, all right, in the novel of Mice and Men, was the idea of being protective or trying to protect or trying to be protective, did that come up? Did it come up in the beginning? And I'm thinking, yeah, totally. Did it come up as the book went on? Yeah, 100%. And was it there at the end? Definitely. So even just by reading two, again, you are going to read as many as you can, all of them. Hopefully everyone will have done their work. And then you're going to do a journal, not a journal entry, a notebook entry, okay? And the notebook entry is going to look just like the one that I'm doing now. So I attached it to the end of this video, and I'm actually going to post it in your classroom. Okay, I took my notebook, and I did a little bit of writing, okay? I labeled it Writing About of Mice and Men, obviously. I took my Post-it, and this is what I was jotting down when I was looking. I saw protect in Allison's. I saw protective in Emily's. I actually saw teamwork in JD's. And I saw some other ideas, but I thought when I got here, I'm going to pick protective. I think that that's something I can definitely write about. Over here, I wrote my prompt. I could write about... ... So everyone is going to have a page set up that looks like this, that has the title, that has the Post-it, and then has this little prompt with the word that you've chosen right here, okay? I could write about, if I was thinking about a Mice and Men, protective instincts or protective efforts. And then I just gave myself about 6 or 7 minutes, not long at all, and I just started writing. So let me tell you what I wrote, and then you are going to give it a try. George tried to protect Lenny after he made a promise to Aunt Clara and traveled with them as they made a living together. Each time Lenny made a mistake, George tried to protect him by running away. I was thinking about weed there. Making excuses for him and training Lenny to stay away from certain circumstances. That's how I saw the idea of protect come up. George tried to help Lenny stay away from Curly until Curly hurt Lenny, and George let Lenny protect himself. If you remember that scene, he said, "Get him, Lenny, get him." After Curly was beating on Lenny, and Lenny did. He protected himself, yet he didn't just protect himself. He almost destroyed this guy's Curly's hand. So I saw this protective circumstance. There was good intentions here. Sorry, I'm trying to write. There's good intentions here and in here, but kind of disastrous things happen. Okay, I continued writing. I just went on to the next page. George warned Lenny to stay away from Curly's wife, yet Lenny became distracted and began to speak with her. When Curly's wife tried to scream, Lenny tried to protect himself again, and as we know, he kills Curly's wife. So I see again, George tried to protect Lenny, and it ended up with someone being dead, right? So obviously this instinct to protect, these efforts to protect, that just didn't really work. But then I started thinking, and all of these thoughts come to me as I'm writing. That's why we take an idea and we expand it, because new ideas just poke through the brain. I was thinking, finally, George protects Lenny from the mob of angry men, and he kills his friend. So at the end of the book, George makes sure he has a gun. He makes sure he finds Lenny first, and he makes sure he's the one who kills Lenny. And he does this not because he's brutal. I think, in my interpretation, I think he loves him so much, he knows this is the best solution for Lenny's life's problems. And it's absolutely horrible. But as I'm thinking more and more about what those men would have done to Lenny if they caught him, it would have been much worse than being shot in the back of the head. Anyway, I wrote, while this was an act of murder, it may have been the only way to truly protect Lenny. Okay, so I just did a whole bunch of things. Okay, I'm going to write this out in the post I'm going to make after this. So the first thing I did was I read all of the notes. Okay, you're going to read all of your classmates' notes. If you have not posted your notes, post your notes, please, because then people can't do this work. Then I chose a big idea that I found in more than one, one time, two times, maybe I even saw it 3 times. I only found it twice, but actually I saw it 3 times. But that was enough to get me to do some writing. And 3, I did a notebook entry. With the prompt, I could write about okay, and it took me, I don't know, my handwriting is kind of big, so it took me probably about 7 minutes to do the writing part. It took me a little longer to do the thinking, okay? Once you do this, and you do this writing, and you take your Post-it and you stick it in a piece of paper, I'm going to find my pictures. Okay. You're going to take a picture of that and you're going to upload it to your notebook page to an assignment that I'm posting. Okay, because I'd like to see the kind of work that you do. I want to see what you come up with, and we're going to take our ideas from there on Thursday, and we're going to do a little more writing. So this might be a topic you write about and might not be. It's just a warm-up activity to get your brain thinking. All right? So good luck. Have fun. Thank you for everyone who did their assignments, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.